Hello ladies and gents, and well, we are here for round 14. Now unfortunately we missed the round on commentary because I might have not had notifications on WhatsApp, and Carl's internet decided doesn't want to run night shifts on a Friday, so oops, sorry I guess. So we'll run through the race 1 results real quick. We had Ron Nelson taking a win with Lennon in second. Unfortunately, Pagani was third. We had City Porsche Blue on 4th with Aaron in 5th. Surprisingly, he's usually down in 10th. Unsafe Police in 6th, Dan Bolton 7th, Blue Flag in 8th. But the lights have went out for round 2. Ron somehow not bottling it off the start. I must say that is a very big surprise, because he's usually put it in the wall by now, but no, he's dropped to 3rd. He's got Lee Cole down his inside, moving up to 2nd. Everyone's going sideways on the opening corner. All looking clean so far. Dark Bolt moving away with a 5-10 lead. That Mitsubishi has a fairly solid start. The Adrian Fuchs car having a good start. He's also got his teammate Lee Cole right up behind him, trying to figure out a way to get into first place. It's not often you see Lee Cole up this high, so I expect he'll be having a little bit of a nosebleed as he goes for the good move around the outside of his teammates. Ron started first because he finished first in the previous race. He's dropped down to 3rd so far, but he's got 22 laps to make up those positions. City Posh Blue and Lennon both having their own battle themselves. I think we saw Lennon spin off earlier just before the start of the race, so keep an eye on him. He spun around here last season, so he might spin around here again. Hopefully he does. Blue Flag trying to make a way past City Posh Blue as well. He's got a 5-10 penalty, so he's going to have to sort that out. If he finishes the race with that penalty still there, he will be getting that knocked up to a 2nd. Unsafe release, he is in P7 with Megatron the Chat, aka Ross, in P8 with T Smith in 9th, Aaron in 10th, Pagani in 11th, and Switchback in 12th. Fairly decent couple opening laps for Lico. Managed to get from what I believe was 3rd place to what? Let's get it up. So Lee Calder started up. I don't know what's happened with Lee. So he started 9th and went up to 1st. Bloody hell, good job from Lee. Lee is currently up into P1. He's leading the second race. He's got a 1.6 second gap. That's going to grow a bit as they go side by side into the final corner. Both Rom and Dark Bolt. Ron just trying to hold it around the outside. Not much he can do. Got up on that curb and the grip was not there anymore. City Posh Blue still on the back of Blue Flag as he gets a little sideways out of turn 1. Very easy to get it sideways there. It's one of those corners that you're just trying to carry the speed to and get the traction off the corner. It's really easy to slide the car, and he's showing it's very easy to do that in turn 2 again as Blue Flag manages to get away down the inside. So he's back past City Posh Blue. He's not giving up the position, so he's still fighting for it. As per City Posh Blue. Megatron, Shat and T Smith both teammates. Somehow Tom is behind Ross. That's something I never thought I was going to be saying, but not for long. T Smith's got back through. Ross has got himself a 1 second penalty. T Smith setting a 1:03. I think he can get those lap times a bit further down. So I'm not quite sure what the lap times were last season. I think when we ran there it was around, I'd say, very low 1 minute. Yeah, it was around very low 1 minute flats. So the fastest lap currently from Dark Bolt to 1 minute 1.4 as we get through the race and fuel starts to drop. These lads will surely be able to get those lap times down a bit. But this is the second race out of 3. This is the only wet race that these lads are going to be running tonight. Round 1 was dry, round 2 was wet, and round 3 is nice and dry again. So it's really a race of how much these guys can, well, how quick they can adjust to the difference in the weather conditions. It's how they can deal with suddenly having to hit the brakes a lot later, be on the throttle a lot smoother, not jerk the steering as much. So it's really trying to find a way to gracefully move your car around the track. Granted, these are GT4s, so no matter how hard you try and spin them, good luck spinning them, because they are pretty planted. Whether that's down to not having much power, or down to them just being monsters, well, that's up for you to decide, because I don't really know. I don't drive GT4. The Dark Bolt, getting that penalty a bit higher, it's not what he wants. We're putting him under more pressure for Ron, because he's going to have to get rid of that penalty sometime. And obviously if he's getting rid of that penalty, it's going to cut a massive chunk into that gap that he's got between himself and Ron Nelson, who's currently in P3. And speaking of him, he's got his own little gap to City Posh Blue. There's a City struggling a little bit. If you haven't noticed, he's turning left to go right. It's not ideal. It's not really what you want, but it's what City's doing. And the blue flag is still trying to figure out a way to get past that BMW. By the looks of how that car's handling, I wouldn't be surprised if you did buy it off eBay. So he's got that eBay livery on the side of the car. T. Smith up in P6, he's 10 seconds off the lead. But unsafe release being challenged by Ross down into turn 2. Ross does have 1.9 seconds of penalties though, so he's going to have to try and find a way to get rid of those penalties. He's got rid of 2 tenths. So he's still side by side with unsafe releases. Some fantastic battle between the two, a little bit of bumper between the two. You can sort of manage but it's all okay. Take a little tap between the two, you can't complain about that. A little rubbins racing, giving each other just enough room, and that's Ross up into P7, unsafe down into 8th. Now this, my man, Pagani, I won't lie, as a commentator meant to be kind of unbiased, but I'm heavily biased. I want Pagani to do well. Oh, he's lagging. That's poor for you. His internet's decided doesn't want to work on a Friday evening. He's all tucked up behind Ross. Now the position he's in here now, he's tucked himself behind Ross. Now I don't know if the outside line's better for one. He's backed out. So he's hanging back, waiting to just try and get that position a little later on in the lap. He just needs to go gung-ho right now. He's got another 15 laps to try and get these moves done, but no. Again, he's trying to figure out a way to get that move. He's putting the pressure on unsafe, showing his nose down the inside. It's a little warning letter for him. So unsafe's going to have to check his mirrors for your championship leader. Ross under further pressure from Lennon. Now bearing in mind this is Lennon, so he's probably had a couple of pints before starting tonight's race. So Ross definitely has to keep his eyes on the mirrors. As he makes a little mistake going into the penultimate corner, but Lennon can't quite make as much advantage of that as he wants. He's still stuck behind. Switchback currently in P11. For some reason Aaron's ghosted in 12th. I don't quite know what's happened to him there. That's a bit of a situation. Lico, that gap's dropped between himself and Darkbolt. Darkbolt's closing in that gap a bit, so he's applying the pressure to Lee, down to 8 tenths of a second. So Lee's got to try and figure out how to get a bit of a move on. But as you can see, Darkbolt's getting himself more penalties, and this is just making life even more harder for Darkbolt. So if he gets in front of Lee, he's still got to clear that amount of time and then drop the penalty. So as you can see, Darkbolt got himself into a little bit of a situation. Ron Nelson, 8.2 seconds behind Darkbolt, so clearly those two Subarus are flying in front, but so no one can really contend with them. The City Posh Blue trying to figure out a way to get up behind Rom. He's got past a fair few drivers, so Rom will be the next on his list. Unsafe a little wider turn 1. This is opening him up to an attack from not only Ross but his teammate as well. This could potentially see Unsafe drop down to 10th, and it has. Unsafe's really struggling in his second race. Just the wet conditions aren't working for him, it seems. Now, I don't know if it's down to the fact that it's an Audi, and Audis usually get a little gung-ho at the back. They get a little happy when you put the throttle down, but Lennon He's trying to throw some gravel up into the face of his teammate. Certainly got me worried for a minute. Thought he was going to send his car into a spin, but Aaron's back. He's continuing on. He's got quite a gap to switch back in P11, but you get points for finishing, so Aaron's just got to keep his foot in, because there is a third race as well. So he's have to see what he can do, see if he can somehow get that fastest lap of the race. Now it won't be difficult, because what I'm seeing here, it doesn't look like that little Renault is the best around here. It doesn't look like it's working that well in these conditions. So there'll be a slight disadvantage for race 2. Magani currently in P7, looking for a way to close down that gap to Ron. It looks like it's actually gaining a bit. The gap's expanding, which isn't good. It isn't good for Magani. Blue flag still battling with T Smith. They're both having their good old little fight. I think it was T Smith that overtook blue flag. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to keep my eyes on everything going on. Blue flag. He's not giving it. He wants this P4. He's going to be taking the long way around turn 1. The option for the switch back's there, but he's not going for it. He's holding it around the outside, taking the normal line, letting T Smith compromise himself out to turn 1. Just see if he can make an opportunity for turn 2. Doesn't quite look like it. Blue flag takes a moment just to get rid of a little bit of that penalty that he's got to serve, and he'll still be fairly close behind. It's only 4/10 separated the two. That's now dropped to 3. It's going to be dropping to 2. So blue flag definitely showing some good pace, just managing T Smith, applying the pressure, getting rid of that penalty where and when he can. So it's all a managing act for blue flag as we're on the halfway stage of this race. Mention that we're starting lap 12 right now. Lee Collin fending off Dark Bolter's teammate. They're both fighting for the win. I don't believe Lee has had a race win this season. So they'll definitely be trying to figure out a way to get that Subaru into P1 to keep it there for the end of the race. Dark Bolter definitely trying to challenge Lee. He's got rid of his penalties and he's gone up to the back of Lee. Only 4.5 separating the two. So it's a close battle we've got going on for the lead. And that Adrian Flux Subaru. Magani not being able to do much to close down that gap to Rom. It's pretty much the same as it was a couple of laps ago. So we'll see if he can do anything about that. Megatron Lechat currently in P8. He's got a 1.9 second penalty. You have to try and figure out a way to get that down and also get past Pagani, because they're both showing some fairly similar pace. Then Stevenson in P9. Don't know why I used his full name, but there you go. he's currently got less than a tenth of a penalty. He's got rid of it, but he's run wide, and that's probably going to give himself and his teammates another penalty, which obviously is not ideal. Switch back, currently in P11. He's closing up to the back of Unsafe and Lennon. So we go to those spots to try and get his way up into the top 10. He's had a bit of a tough season, so he'll be looking to get another decent result. Obviously, get a little bit of confidence, because he's a quick driver. He's shown that in GT2 last season. He finished 4th in the championship behind Joe's truly. Yes, I took a seat now and came back 3rd. I know. Sorry. But yeah. Still a good battle going on for P9. 3 cars trying to fight for that 9th position. 2-hour penalty. Unsafe doesn't have one, but they'll be able to drop that penalty. They've got 9 laps to do it, so I don't see why they couldn't. All looking fairly uniform for the lot right now. Doesn't seem to be any overtaking attempts going on just yet. Running single file, trying to find that opportunity to get that overtake done when someone makes a mistake or gets off that corner just a bit slower than he normally would. Just trying to see what way you can get past that car. That's exactly what Switchback's doing right now. He's trying to find a way past Lennon. Looks at the inside, can't quite get it done. Lennon gets the brakes a bit later. Zach gets it earlier to try and get that slingshot out the corner, and he's done it. He's got past both Lennon and Unsafe. That switch back up into P9, it looks like. Unsafe definitely trying to hold it around the outside. It looks like that outside line's been pretty good for Unsafe so far this race. He's been managing to hold it around the other cars. Let's see Pagani under threat from Ross, sorry. Let's see. City Posh Blue in P3. T Smith 2.7 seconds behind. He's dropped that to 2.6. He's definitely trying to pick up the pace a bit. So T Smith set a pace no best of 1 minute 2.1 last lap. And the last lap, City Posh Blue set a 1 minute 2.3. City Posh Blue is just 2/10 slower than T Smith right now. So T Smith does have that slight advantage in pace, but if he's running consistently at that pace, if the two of them are running consistently at that pace, he won't have enough laps to get it done, because he's only got 7 laps left. We are on lap 16 almost. Yeah, lap 16 of 22. You have to try and figure out a way to pick up that pace just a little bit more. Obviously we can see what can be done. A 1 minute 0.9 can be done. And T Smith's a ways off that, so we'll see if he can close that gap. Half or a quarter of a tenth slower than his previous lap. It shows T Smith is running fairly consistently, but still the gap he's got isn't enough for the amount of laps he's got. So it's definitely a tricky situation for T Smith if he really wants his P3. So I have to try and put that hammer down a little bit. Lee and Darkbolt still fighting at the front, a 10 separating the two. It's a great battle for the leads in race 2. Decall managing to keep it clean, which is what you want to do when you're leading the race. Because you're going to have to keep your eye in the mirrors, but Lee's got slightly wide out of the final corner. That's allowing Darkbolt to get down the inside. He's passed before the braking zone. He's tucks in front, so Lee Cole is stuck behind. And Lee needs to see if he can get that exit out of 1, just to try and see if he can make an attack for turn 2. Even just show his nose, show that there's that sign of that letter of intent that he wants to get past Darkbolt. As we all know, Lee's capable of it. Darkbolt goes deep to 2. That allows him to straighten the car up earlier and get that throttle down for 4. For turn 3, sorry. So it's making life tricky for Lee as he's a little sideways through turn 4 there. That's going to make life a bit harder for Lee. He's managed to hold on well so far. He doesn't want to let Darkbolt drop too far behind as he's just out of that slipstream range. Darkbolt running wide. This could be a potential penalty for Darkbolt. A little slide into the final corner. He's all up on the curb. 5/10 penalty for Darkbolt, and he's also got Lee right up at the back of him. Going wide, tanked the speed coming off the final corner, and that's just allowed Lee to get right back through. Darkbolt saved his penalty. He'll be trying to come back through when he can. Lee Cole currently leading the way, 5/10 on lap 18 of 22. So that is 5 laps, including lap 18. Lee looks like he's extended that gap a bit. He's gained 4 to 3/10 in the last corner or so. So Lee's definitely showing that he does have the pace. He just needs to keep those corners clean. He needs to get the braking point right, get the turning right, and then just be nice and relaxed. No. Floor the throttle and spin the rear, or just try and hit the brakes too late and run wide and gain a penalty as his teammate done the last lap, and it's a possibility that he might get it again there. He did run a little wide, so we'll keep an eye on that. No, Darkbolt doesn't get a penalty for that. In P3, T Smith has really closed down that gap. He's put the hammer down. City Posh has been struggling the last few laps. This has allowed Tom to just close that gap up quite a bit. So Tom will be trying to figure out where can I get past him. He's only got 4 laps to get the move done. unfortunately tonight you're not graced by Carl's beautiful voice. I say that with full sarcasm. I love the guy, but still, you will have to take a jab at him every now and again. But this gap between Darkbolt and City Posh, 16.8 seconds. It's just massive, that advantage that the Subaru has on the field, really. It's just clearly at the advantage. They're running so much quicker. It's almost like they're running a second a lap quicker. Now, it's not just down to the car, it's also on merit, but Darkbolt's got massively wide. He's kicked up loads of grass, he's dropped. Lee's just, with getting the clean run, he's just extended that gap massively to Darkbolt, which obviously he won't be happy about. He wants to close up to the back of Lee, as he's only got a couple of laps to get the win. But it looks like that mistake could potentially be the nail in the coffin for Darkbolt tonight. Especially with running wide those two corners, that's going to be a penalty. There's no other way about it. It's a life for Darkbolt the past couple laps. It's been really tough for him, but it's all Lee's to lose right now. And we all know that Lee has bottled it in the past. So hopefully he won't do that tonight. Obviously, I'm kind of known for giving Lee the commentator's curse, which, I'll be brutally honest, I'm quite happy for having that reputation. It's I get to leave my legacy behind for the suffering of Lee, which is definitely the way you want to go. So we shall see. The gap's extended to 2.3 seconds, so Darkbolt clearly not pushing as much as he has been, so he doesn't really see much point. He hasn't tried to drop that penalty, because it would be way further than 3 seconds down. The Darkbolt tried his best. He was in the lead for a bit, but Lee Cole, managing to keep his cool as we come on to the final lap, is looking in a very good position to take the race win for the second race of the evening. Only 7/10 off the back of City Posh. So he's going to have to try something this lap. The pace between them seems fairly similar now. City Posh sideways through turn 1. Just one of those situations where he's turning left to go right again. Well, City Posh looking in a good spot to take P3 for tonight's race, for tonight's second race. And yes, Brad, there's 3 races tonight. Gran currently in P7. He's not under much threat by Megatron. He's 1.2 seconds behind. He's also got a second or so in penalties. But Lee Cole crosses the line, takes the win. Darkbolt takes P2. The City Posh and Tom both going for it. But it looks like City gets a good exit here. T-Smith won't be getting that exit to be into the line. As you can see, Tommy runs wide. So that is City Posh in P3 with T-Smith in P4. So we'll see what can Ross do. Ross is going to do P5. It's going to be his teammate Blue Flag behind him to take P6. The championship leader Pagani, slightly disappointed racing tonight, drove to the best the car could give. He's currently P7 with Ross in P8. Switchback a great racing tonight, he's in P9. Bit of a troublesome one for Aaron, not quite sure what happened, he was ghosted for quite a bit of it. We've got Unsafe taken P10 and Lennon taken P11. So that is round 2 wrapped up for tonight. That's round 14 overall for the championship. So we'll be moving on to round 15 in a couple moments time. That will be the final race of tonight. So everyone just sat in their box to be waiting for the settings to be changed, as they just are now. We're getting changed to dry conditions again for the third race tonight. So we'll see how the changes in pace are, because with the wet, being in the wet, it exaggerates any weakness that your car might have. If it's a little bit understeery on corner exit, you're going to feel it in the wet, and if it's slightly oversteery coming out the corner in the wet, you're going to feel it. You're going to be kicking up grass if you're not careful, because if you get a little too eager in an oversteery car in the wet, chances are you're going to be backwards, which is not the way you want to be facing, but sometimes that's the way it is. We got Lennon in the Discord saying, "Thank God it ain't raining again. I was so beeping slow." Now, I don't know where he gets the notion from that it's the wet causing him to be slow. He's usually fairly slow in general. Now, I think I'm going to let him know it's down to his fault in the Discord, you know, just because, why not? Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? I can't find a reason. You get an opportunity to take a little jab at Lennon, you're obliged to take it. So on board a dry Red Bull ring short. Obviously, it's my worst track. It's not worst in terms of performance, it's just worse in terms of I want to bang my head against the wall every time I go around a corner, because it's a boring track in my opinion. There's, obviously in GT it's a little different than what you'd expect in F1. On F1 it's more of a case of touch the brake, turn the car, plant the power, and then you're on another straight for another 500 meters at least. So it's not the favourite of tracks for me. I love those tight and twisty ones, like you got your Monacos, your Bakus and your Singapores. I love those tracks. It's one of those circuits where you've got to be fully focused at every single corner you take, otherwise the chances are you're going to be in a barrier. And most of the time I usually put myself in one. T. Smith currently setting the benchmark of 52.4 for this practice bit before we go into the proper race. So Pete, with hashtag Ascom's pick of race 3. Okay, that's a tough one. I don't know. I really don't know, because I haven't saw the cars in the dry, so I don't know. It's going to be a difficult one. I'm probably going to be miles off. I'm going to go with... I don't know. Tough one. I'm going to go T. Smith's definitely going to be in the top 3. I think Pagani is going to have a good chance at it as well. I'll say... I don't know. think. Donzo thinks City Posh for race 3. It's a fairly good guess. He's a little down in terms of sector times right now, but he might have better track position. I think it's a reverse grid for race 3. That's my dogs just ran in my room. So let's see. I don't know. I really don't know. I'll have a look at the results for race 1 because Aaron was very kind as to send me them. So we had Rom win the first race. We had Lennon in second. God knows how. We had Pagani third. I'm expecting Pagani to be in third, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Rom might take race 2. Race 3. Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to put all my cards on Rom and say Rom's going to win. Because why not? Why not? Don't see any reason why not. Might as well. We've got Aaron on pole. First and last time we'd be there this season. So see, the lights are going out. And they are a go. Ross gets a brilliant start off the line. He's starting P5. Let's see where he was. He's P3 already. He's going to be challenging for the lead into turn 1. He's all over the back of switchback. Aaron gets a poor launch just down to the fact that Renault isn't so good off the start of the race. A great run off the start from switchback. He leads into turn 2. Ross and Lennon both fighting for second, ironically, in the second corner. Aaron and Pagani both doing fairly well at the start of this race. Where Pagani started, puts him in a good spot, but really finished in race 3, put him in a good spot for the start of race 3. So we're trying to capitalise on that. He's only in P5 and the lead's clearly within reach. You can see it in front. You can see Switchback trying to scurry off with that race lead. So we're trying to put his foot down as much as he can. Just push the throttle a little harder, it's my best advice. I'm trying to play those mind games with Ross already. Little flash of the lights, just to show him that he's there. And getting close to the back of them as he flew through turn 1. Pagani is on the outside of Aaron for P2, for turn 2. I think Aaron will let him through. What's happened here? It's just gone very slow. Yeah. T. Smith, Ross? What happened there? Ross, yeah, Ross. English is failing me tonight, as of every other day. Pagani is now in P2, he's 1.9 seconds off switchback. Where's Rom? Rom's in 9th. I made a mistake putting all my eggs on Rom. It looks like it's going to be Pagani again. Pagani 1.8 seconds off switchback. So we're trying to close up that gap to get into P2, but he's got unsafe release all over the back. 3 tenths separate P2 and P3. Switchback 1.1 seconds ahead of Pagani, so Pagani's closing in that gap. Unsafe release still at the back of him, so it's looking like Unsafe is going to actually be in a position to challenge for the win tonight for this second race, for this third race, sorry. So Pagani got to drive as well as he can. I think this is the perfect time to take a sip off my Corona. Aaron in P4 behind Unsafe is 1.3 seconds behind the Audi in front. It's got City Posh Blue in the BMW, not far behind. So looking single file fairly clean so far. Both Lee and are both fighting for P10. Obviously where they finished in race 1 and 2, there was a 1 and 2 for in that race 1 and 2. In race 2 there was a 1-2 for the Subaru guys. They will be trying to get, well, they should be trying to get as far up as they can, because you put on the back row because of where it started. So this third race is more of a recovery in a sense, as with the touring car layout. Yes, Peter, refreshment break. Just hope I don't pass out on my refreshment. I think it'd be a bit worrying if I was passing out off one swig. So unsafe right down the inside of Pagani. Well, that's not Pagani. Wait, but that switchback, okay. Unsafe down the inside the switchback. Pagani's managed to get his way through. He's currently in P1. So we're leading the race. There's an 8-6-10 gap, separating both Paganois and Unsafe. But Switchback's trying to do something about it. He's challenging for that P2. He doesn't want to just let Unsafe get by and go. He wants to fight him. As every driver wants to do. They want to fight for those top positions. But Aaron fairly close behind Switchback. Switchback's going to be looking at his mirrors going, oh no! Trying to figure out a way to go a little bit quicker to stop Aaron getting past. Yeah. He's actually trying to figure out a way to not get fast by Aaron. Sorry. But the gap between Pagani and Unsafe's fairly consistent so far. Unsafe can't go past. So it's proven difficult for Unsafe at this stage of the race. Oh god. Okay, I need to grow up. We've got City Posh Blue in P5, he's trying to find a way past Aaron as well. Now City's only got 3:10 penalty, and Aaron's got 1.1 seconds. So they both had to get rid of their penalty. Otherwise, if they don't get rid of it before the end of the race, the penalty will get increased because you haven't saved it. You can just see the difference in the way that the approach for Switchback, Aaron and City Posh is. Switchback isn't using that outside curb, he's using that outside curb. He's not using the outside curb in the penultimate corner to carry more speed through. It was like Aaron has got down the inside of Switchback and oh no! Switchback's gone off for turn 1 again. It's proven difficult for Switchback so far. The City Posh is all over the back of his teammates having a bit of a troublesome lap. So we shall see Switchback be putting up a defence. He's got 1.9 seconds of penalties, so there's not too much reason in him fighting City Posh, but he might as well. He's in a race to race. But yeah, it's a tough couple laps for Switchback. How do I do it? Okay. You're gonna love Zach, he's the reason I'm doing comms tonight, so you should thank him. You should thank him. To Aaron, Cody MP3, he's 1.5 seconds up on safe. The safe's half a second off Paul. So lap 9 at 22. Lead hasn't really changed much. As he began, he's got a little bit of a cut, he's got a penalty to deal with, Unsafe doesn't. So began he's have to pick up the pace and travel a little more clean if he wants to take this first race win tonight in the final round of this evening. You can see Switchback in another fight with Rom. Rom's on the right hand side. They'll give him the inside line for turn 1. The Switchback will have to go around the outside. There's no point in defending it too much, just cost them a lot more time to blue flag. This is more of a situation for Switchback where he needs to focus on that overall race time instead of just spare at the moment. Oh, I want the position now, I'm only halfway through the race. I don't want to lose the track, and he's got to maybe think the long game instead of right here and now. I think you can clearly see that's what he's doing. He's not putting up too much of a fight, because if he does, it's just going to allow a lot more people to get up to the back of them and then have a go. So it's very smart thinking from Switchback, and he's playing it the right way. Now we have Monzoir Donzo saying, can Unsafe do it this week? Now he's kind of been cased to second place. Now he got a couple of wins last season, which he'd be really happy with. He was really happy with. He managed to take the title, and to see him up here fighting for race wins in GT1 is really encouraging for him. Obviously he's showing he can do it, but right now it's kind of looking like Unsafe's cased to P2, but Pagani still needs to get rid of that half a second penalty, because if he doesn't, he's going to get it extended to a second, and guess who's within a second of Pagani? No, Unsafe. Unsafe's within a second of Pagani. To start to lose my voice a little bit, but Pagani is really trying to extend that gap as much as he can, just to create a buffer. And we have a loaf in the chat saying that he hopes Unsafe can take the race win tonight. So it's good to see that we got the spokesman of Hovis in the chat tonight. It's great for publicity of the league. It's really encouraging to see. Actually, if I'm not wrong, Junkie Sport for GT2, I think he has a bread sponsor on the side of his car. So, but unfortunately, I don't know. So unfortunately for Bread, he's not Junkie's teammate. So his delivery would be perfect for him. Pagani dropped that penalty just a little bit. It's down to 4 tenths now, it's not 5 tenths. So that would be... Ah, yes, it's a Warburton sponsor, so it's not exactly bread, but it's in the bread region, I guess. Oh, yes, he is your teammate, okay. Shows how much attention I've paid the past week. I'm getting old. 2019 as well. So Pagani, that gap staying fairly stable, but Unsafe has ran really wide at the penultimate corner. So he's had a big risk of getting a penalty, and he's run a little bit wide there. So he's got a half a second to match Pagani's. Half a second. Hashtag Team Crispy Croutons. That's a good one. That's a good one, Danzo. I like that. So Unsafe, due to that little mistake he made at the end of the previous lap, he's dropped 2.3 seconds behind Pagani. Oh, what's happened to Ross? Okay. Ross is doing some gardening. He's got a 10-second penalty. What the hell have you been up to, Ross? Okay. Okay. I don't know what to make of that. That's yeah, that's unfortunate for Ross. He is in a situation. Poor Ross. I think I love him. It's been a tough third race for him. But Pagani is not dropped any of that penalty, and either is Unsafe, so they're both pushing as fast as they can and hoping that he can. Well, Pagani's hoping he can pull away even more, and Unsafe's hoping he can close the gap. So it's really a sprint to the end for these two. We've got 7 laps to the end. It's not even a minute a lap, it's 52 seconds a lap. So you can clearly see how quick these cars are going around this circuit. I don't think anyone's ever seen a penalty like that, Pete. It's good old GT Sport. It's good old GT Sport. It's one of those things where if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I think Ross is probably crying a little bit right now. She's just had to save over 10 seconds of penalties for something that there's not like he should have got a penalty for. He's just off the road. It was very unfortunate for Ross in the third race. So was that Aaron being lapped? Okay, so I'm inclined to believe that the reason Ross is this far off the back has something to do with that car. Yes, I think it might have been something to do with Aaron and Ross. So yeah, that's a weird one. I don't know. Is it? I don't. Oh, Ross, calm down. Calm down. Yeah, it's definitely a weird one. Because Aaron was further up in the field, and I'm sure Ross was as well. And to see them both this far back, especially showing the pace that Pagani's got. It's. If I put my tinfoil hat on and sing to the stars, it's probably Aaron and Ross that have had a collision. Yes, okay, I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. And the team is like FTRL, just conspiracy theories left, right and centre. With Darpo letting through. Don't know what that was for. There's to see Pagani has gained that, extended that gap to 3.3 seconds. Now Unsafe is in P2 trying to find his way past this lap traffic. So he's currently got a second penalty. He's got another penalty and he's stuck behind other cars. So that's making life even more difficult for him. We've got two cars up here fighting for P10. There's the both let him through, sorry. Beer bubbles in my throat. The City Boss Blue in third manages to make his way through the lap corners as well. The switch back in P5, that's a good recovery from him. He was struggling at the start of this race. Lennon gets a little bit of a weak run onto the final corner. That's going to allow Lee to try and tuck into that slipstream. Now you won't get the move into turn 1 unless he decides that a bump and run is a good way to get it. But no, he doesn't. So Lee hang him back for now, not much he can do. Now we've got Lennon in the slipstream of T Smith, so it's really a three-way fight for P6. So with Lennon being in that slipstream of T Smith, it's really not doing any favours for Lee, because Lee has got to deal with Lennon's slipstream as well. So it's a bit of a difficult one for Lee. He just needs to push as much as he can on the corners and pray for the best on the straights. So it's looking all fairly spaced out. The gap between P2 and 3 is 2.5 seconds. And the gap between the P2 and our lead is 3.5. Now there's only 2 laps left. We're on lap 20, which has actually been fairly quick, if you don't mind me saying. It's been fairly quick these last couple of races. The other thing's been 40 minutes. It's only been 17 minutes for the second race. Maybe 19 minutes before Pagani's lagging a little bit. But we'll leave Paul alone. So it's looking like this race will be under 20 minutes. I guarantee it'll be under 20 minutes. So a quick race from the lads tonight. 1 minute 0, 1 minute 2 for City Posh. I'd be inclined to believe that's traffic, but there we go, it's fixed it. Okay, it's a 51-second lap. I was really confused of what was going on there. I think it must have been showing the start lap or something for his previous. I don't know why I'd done that. But it reset itself. So I am confused no more. Aaron let City Posh through. He doesn't have to worry about Darpo getting by him from doing anything. Let City Posh through in a decent spot, and as Darpo's got a fair few penalties. 5.4 seconds, unfortunately. 6.9 now. A tough race for Darpo tonight, unfortunately. Lee Cobb putting in a really good performance. He's on the back of Lennon. No, that's T Smith. He's on the back of T Smith. So we're trying to figure out a way to get him on this final lap. keep an eye out for Pagani. Just on the little radar, you can see him coming through turn 4, so he's not too far off the line. You can see Lico can't quite find a way past Tom right now. Lico still back in P8. But we go on board with Mr. Paul. He's coming through the final corner. A nice clean and crispy run. And he comes through to take the first race win of tonight. In the final round of this evening, Unsafe takes P2 with City Posh Blue in P3. Close to the line, as Unsafe takes as Blue Flag takes his penalty, that allows. There's not much change between them in the switchback. T Smith 6th, Lennon 8th. But penalties have changed that, so it's. Right, switchback in 5th, you've got T Smith in 6th. That's. Right, the time's messed up. So that's Rom in 7th, Lee in 8th, Lennon in 9th, Aaron in 10th. Yeah, so not bad. Can be confusing with the penalties sometimes in this game. A fantastic third race from Mr. Pagani as he's changed into his suit for the podium. But that has been rounds 13, 14 and 15 tonight, well, with the exception of 13, unfortunately, because of Junkie Sports Internet deciding that it doesn't work on Fridays anymore. We unfortunately missed race 2 with us. Not much he could do about that. It's also down to the internet provider. Unfortunately, we all have these situations sometimes where your Wi-Fi decides today is not the day, and I've had them the past couple of weeks. The internet thought, I'll take the day off, Mike. I'm going to cash in one of my yearly holidays. So it'll be unfortunate for Junkie tonight, but I'm sure he'll be watching the stream back as he always does. But good couple of races for tonight. A good job from Lee and Pagani to take their race win. Also a good job from Rom to take his race win in P1. That has been Red Bull Ring tonight. Thank you for watching, and there will be, actually, before we go, I need to shamelessly promote something. We have the Super Series 700 on Sunday as well. Now I believe that will be commentated by Switchback, so obviously a big thank you to Zach for commentating that for us on Sunday if he is. So that'll be an hour and 30 race. Hour and 30 minute race. I'm not entirely sure on the circuit, but that will be Sunday. I'll be starting at 8 o'clock, I believe. 8 o'clock as usual. And Monday we will be back to normal. We'll be running our F1 leagues from Monday through Wednesday. And we'll be back to GT Sport on Thursday and Friday. Thank you for watching. Unfortunately the stream was a little bit shorter than it usually is tonight, but hopefully next week we'll have that all sorted out and we'll have a full 3 races of comps. Well, take care, thanks for watching.